Alright students, welcome back after the break. Chalo, we'll go ahead and start now. Right everyone? So before the break, we had learned about the serial order, how we'll be learning about the chapters. I know might be some students or some of you might be confused that sir, we did not understand that chapter, this chapter. Baba, chapter ka understanding will take when we go to that chapter. I was just giving you a brief overview how we will follow or what are the steps or how is the chapter flow which we'll be going through, right? So uh, now I'll be starting with my GST ka formal discussion with the textbook, right everyone? This is the CA this Chartmasters textbook on indirect tax laws. Baba, the textbook which is there have been prepared keeping in mind for all the students, CA, CMA or CS professional. So if you are a CA student, then also Baba everything is covered. If you are a CMA student and CS professional student, I've tried to cover everything from your book as well, right everyone? How it is beneficial for students to study. So CS student will say sir, how CS ka student ka books will be helpful. Baba, GST is same for CA, CS, CMA, all of you guys. GST for all of you is same. Don't worry about it. Baba, law is always same for everyone. Law is equal for everyone, right everyone? And this book is applicable for May, November, December, right? Chalo. Now this is the index which is there. The index, when you see, the first one is the introduction, then we have supply, Baba, whether it is intrastate, interstate, registration. So this is the same flow which I was teaching you now. The same flow may I have gone ahead and prepared my index as well. So when you see the index is prepared in the same way. GST is levied, invoice, then time of supply, EWA bill, etc. All have been prepared in the same manner. Then we have the customs. Baba, customs we have around 10 chapters which are there, and foreign trade policy, one chapter which is there, I've gone ahead and put it. So we have 10 chapters of customs which we'll be doing and one foreign trade policy, right everyone? Now see, after every chapter gets over, after we finish all the chapters, we will try to go ahead and revise it from our summary chart as well at the end, and then we will be doing the Q&A. So Baba, in this batch first we'll be studying from the textbook and learning the concept, then we'll be going ahead and studying from the chart book, how and see whether we have covered at least or more or less everything what we have studied in the textbook in the chart book. So in the chart book you will be seeing that every chapter has been compressed in one page. So we'll have to see whether the textbook has been compressed in the chart book. If you by chance find anything which is missing in the chart book, what you can do is, after my class gets over, might be during my class, whatever point you find it important, write it down in your chart book only, so that one day before the exam it is very easy for you to go ahead and revise. See what happens, what I have seen with the students, everyone please listen, it is very very important. What I have seen with the student is, one day before the exam it becomes very challenging for them to go ahead and revise everything. Sir, we are not able to revise everything, the textbook is so huge. Baba, first of all, my textbook is not huge, you will have only one textbook for GST, customs and FTP, but still the whole textbook I have tried summarizing in 78 pages. It means one day before the exam it will become extremely easy for you to go ahead and revise GST. Trust me, after the class gets over you will be able to revise GST and customs in 3 to 4 hours quickly through the chart book. Now what I am telling is, when we are studying from the textbook, I will also tell you to include some points in your chart book that you can go ahead and make a note in your chart book, so that one day before the exam you don't miss out that point. So what I have also tried doing in the chart book this time is, a few circulars which I have found important, I have tried to incorporate in the chart book only. So when you are reading the chart book, those circulars are also covered, those notifications are also covered. So I have tried to include everything in the chart book. And Q&A, Baba, Q&A also will be practicing in the class. So once one chapter gets over, we'll quickly revise it from the chart book and then we'll start the Q&A practice. So Baba, Q&A we will be doing in the class, we will be solving Q&A in the class, but you have to go ahead and practice the Q&A at home. So once chapter number 1 gets over, I will do some question answers with you guys and show you how it is happening, how we have to write in the exam, because presentation matters a lot. Presentation is very important. Unless you know how to write in the exam, Baba, it is very difficult to pass. So the only way to pass is not by learning, not by retaining, but Baba, knowing how to apply those concepts in the exam. So I will be teaching you with the Q&A material how to go ahead and apply those concepts, right everyone? So we will be doing some question answers in the class, and Baba, the rest you will have to practice at home. Baba, some important questions I will be doing, some questions I will be telling you to do at home, and Baba will be done with the Q&A part also. Q&A, once you are done, you will know how to apply, and trust me, it will become very easy for you in the exam to go ahead and apply the concept, because you will also be understanding it conceptually with me, Baba, and you will be going ahead and retaining also with me. I will go ahead and tell you how to retain everything. Trust me, by the end you will remember most of the section, you will be remembering most of the concepts also, and I'll also tell you how to apply in the exam, right everyone? Chalo, let's go ahead and start with our formal discussion from the first chapter. The first chapter says GST and introduction. So we'll be taking an introduction. I have already introduced you little bit to GST. I'll introduce you more now. So the first one is GST and introduction, the overview and administrative part, how GST is being administered, administration part. First one says, what is tax? Baba, everyone with me now, what is tax? If I ask you guys, see, I don't have students over here, but I imagine that everyone is sitting in front of me and you guys are sitting and watching me. So I am asking you, what is tax? You will have to tell me, what is tax? Sir, tax. Tax is something which we pay to the government. Sir, something which government charges. Is it voluntary? Baba, is it voluntary? I don't want to pay, I will not pay. No, it's a compulsory finance charge. Baba, government has imposed this on you compulsorily. Tax is something which you have to pay compulsorily to the government. Imposed upon a taxpayer means imposed upon me, you, whoever is earning, under an act or law by the government. Baba, always remember, tax is a compulsory payment or a compulsory finance charge which is imposed by the government on a person, Baba, and it is to be paid under an act. So whenever government wants to collect a tax, government has to collect a tax under a act or under a law. Baba, there has to be an act. For an example, income tax is collected under Income Tax Act. Baba, GST is collected under the GST Act. I hope everyone is clear. So it has to be collected under a tax has to be collected under an act or law by the government. Sir, supposingly I am sitting in my shop, one rowdy came or one gunda came and he told me, hey, give 1000 rupees. I paid him 1000. Baba, compulsory payment only. If I don't pay him, he'll close my shop. Now when I pay him 1000 rupees, that is also paid to him compulsorily. But does that become law? Does that become tax? No sir, that does not become a tax, because tax has to be collected under an act or a law, and it has to be collected by the government. I hope everyone is clear. So tax is a compulsory payment or a compulsory finance charge which government imposes upon us, right? And we pay it. And Baba, why are we paying? Because government has made a law or government has made an act, and under the act we are making the payment to the government in order to fund various public. Now why does the government needs money? Baba, why does the government need money? Why does the government need tax? Why does the government collect tax? Now if you see, government, in order to protect the country, needs military. For the military, Baba, government has to manage the military, make the payment of salaries. Baba, whatever arms, ammunitions are required, government needs it. Baba, government to run the country. Baba, for a simple example, your mother or your father needs money to run the family, to run all the expenses of the family. So Baba, so we all have a budget, how we go ahead and run the family. Baba, in the same way, the government, in order to run the country, needs money. So from where will the government get the money? Baba, that money is collected in the form of tax from all of us. So we give money to the government and government uses it for all of us ka benefit. Baba, in what way? By funding various public expenditure and fulfilling the development needs like infrastructure. Baba, we need roads, we need bridges, we need infrastructure. Baba, everything is being funded by the government by the tax money which we give. We need healthcare. Government has set up many hospitals. We need education. We need security, police, military, defense, everything. How will the government go ahead and provide us military, defense, police, everything, infrastructure, all these hospitals, educational institution? How are these being? Baba, not all the educational institutions are run by the government, but the educational institutions which are run by the government charges a very nominal fees, making it easy and affordable for the public. How is government going ahead and providing all those facilities to us? Does government generate money? No, government goes ahead and collects that money as tax from all of us, that is taxpayers. I hope everyone is clear. So what is tax? Tax is a compulsory financial charge. Baba, it's compulsory, it is not voluntary. It is imposed upon a taxpayer. Who is a taxpayer? We'll be understanding after some time. Taxpayer is basically who has income, right? Or Baba, in direct tax form, who has income, he pays tax. That is income tax. A person, when he pays tax on goods and service, that is goods and services tax. I hope everyone is clear. Under an act, so whenever tax is imposed under an act, income tax is imposed under Income Tax Act, GST is imposed under GST ka act or law by the government in order to fund various public expenditure, whatever is the public expenditure like infrastructure, education, etc., and to fulfill the development needs. I hope everyone is clear. So it's a compulsory financial charge imposed upon a taxpayer. It is made under an act or law by the government. Tax has to be collected. Always remember, tax has to be collected under an act or law, and it is to fund various public expenditure. I hope everyone is clear. Not a definition which you have to remember for your exam, but you should know what is tax, right? Sir, we already knew. I know you already knew. See, the first chapter which is there, I'll be talking about the basics. There can be some points which you guys already know. There can be some points which I'll talk new, right everyone? Chalo. What are the different types of tax? Sir, direct tax, indirect tax, we already know. Yes, Baba, I know you guys already know, but I will be talking about it little. There can be some students who don't know, there can be some students who know little, there can be some students who know more. See, when I am discussing in the class, I will take into consideration all the three and I'll be talking. There can be some students who have already studied before, so their GST ka knowledge might be strong. There might be some students who are studying for the first time. There are some students who have already worked in their offices for GST, so their knowledge might be high. So what I'm telling is, I'll have to take everyone into consideration and then teach. So I'll be teaching from the very basics, right everyone? Chalo. Let us understand the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. Sir, what is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? You guys tell me, what do you think is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? You will tell, sir, direct tax directly imposed, indirect tax indirectly imposed. Let's start understanding. It says a direct tax is a charge which is imposed directly on a taxpayer and paid to the government by the person on whom it is imposed. The burden of tax cannot be shifted by the taxpayer to someone else. For an example, income tax. I earned income from house property. I earned income from my business. Whatever income I earned, government imposes a tax on my income directly, and I only have to pay to the government. Government imposes a tax on me and I only pay to the government. That is known as direct tax. What is indirect tax? Indirect tax are imposed on goods and service. Its incidence is borne by the consumer who ultimately consumes the product or service. It is also called consumption tax. For an example, government imposed tax on me. Baba, government told Ramesh, you are selling goods and service. Baba, on this goods and service, government has imposed on me goods and service tax. Government has told you have to collect, you have to pay GST. But this tax I will collect from the customer and pay to government. Imposed on me, but ultimately borne by the consumer. So it is known as indirect tax. I hope everyone is clear. Direct tax is imposed on me and I only pay. Indirect tax is imposed on me, but I collect from the customer and then pay. See, there are two things: imposition and collection. Levy and collection. Imposition and collection. Government will impose on me, I will only pay. That is known as direct tax. Government will impose on me, I will collect and pay. That is known as indirect tax. I hope everyone is clear. It is indirect tax is always borne by the ultimate consumer. Let me go ahead and explain you quickly. Everyone here, for an example, there is one Mr. Ram. Mr. Ram runs a restaurant. Everyone, Mr. Ram runs a restaurant. Now, this is supposedly Ram's friend Shyam. Baba, from the childhood, we have been hearing Ram ka friend is always Shyam. Yes, Ram ka friend. Baba, people, everyone, relax, sit. Baba says, Aram se relax, Aram se sit. Right, everyone? Always relax and listen to the class. Trust me, you will enjoy it. Aram se relax, Aram se sit. Want a pillow? Put pillow, Aram se sit and listen to the class. So Ram ka friend is Shyam. Shyam came to Ram ka shop. Ram runs a restaurant. Ram runs a restaurant. Ram ka friend is Shyam. Shyam came to Ram's ka restaurant. Ram went ahead and supplied him food. Baba, this is idli, or this is whatever you want. This is some sabji over here. He supplied the food. Ram give him a bill of 100 rupees for food, and supposingly for an example he charged GST of 10 rupees, 110. Shyam gave him 100 rupees for the food, 10 rupees for the GST. Can you tell me, can Ram keep 110 with himself, or he can keep only 110 rupees he'll have to pay to the government? Government has told Ram, when you are running a restaurant, GST has to be paid. On the services of the restaurant, you will have to pay GST. Baba, government imposed the GST on him, but what he did, he ultimately collected from him 100 rupees and the GST amount, and now he will pay 10 rupees to the government. So, Baba, what is indirect tax? It is imposed on me, but I will collect it from the ultimate customer and then pay to the government. So, it is known as indirect tax. Baba, when Shyam is paying, Shyam is not paying directly to the government, Shyam is paying indirectly through me to the government. Tax is borne by him. When I pay my tax directly to the government, that is direct tax. When Shyam paid it to me and then I paid it to the government, it is indirectly paid through me, imposed on me, but I collected from him and then paid to the government. So it is known as indirect tax. I hope everyone is clear. So if you see over here, it was imposed actually on me, but indirectly I collected from him, and Baba, then I paid to the government. So Baba, it is known as indirect tax. I hope everyone is clear. Indirect tax, the ultimate burden is on the consumer, imposed on one person, collected from the other, and then paid to the government. Now Ram was running a restaurant. Now Ram made profit. Year end May, when you see his income was 8 lakh, expenses were supposingly 3 lakh, and he made a profit of 5 lakh. On this profit, Ram will have to pay some tax to the government. Ram will have to pay some tax to the government on this 5 lakh rupees. Supposingly, Ram has to pay 10% tax to the government, 50,000 to the government. Okay, 1 minute. I will say that government is this only, no. So Ram will directly pay on 5 lakh rupees, 10% might be 50,000 to the government. This is known as direct tax. Imposed on Ram, paid by Ram only. Imposed on me, I only paid, that is direct tax. Imposed on me, I collected from someone and then paid, that is indirect tax. I hope everyone is clear. Direct tax imposed on the person and burden also on my person. It is imposed on me and pinching me only, out of my pocket only. Then it is direct tax. Imposed on me, I collected from someone, then paid to the government, that is indirect tax. I hope everyone is clear. Imposed on me but pinching the other person, incidence is borne by the other person, that is indirect tax. Can I go ahead, everyone? So here GST is an indirect tax because it was imposed on him but collected from the ultimate consumer who is consuming, and Baba then paid to the government. Direct tax imposed on Ram only and Ram only paid to the government, so it is known as direct tax. I hope everyone is clear. Let's go ahead, everyone. So the first one was direct tax is a charge which is imposed directly on the taxpayer and paid directly to the government by the person on whom it is imposed. Direct tax imposed on me. Can I shift the burden? No sir, you only have to pay. Indirect tax, Baba, people who know it also, please listen carefully. Indirect tax are imposed on goods and services. Baba, I sold the food. Food is a service. Selling of food is a service. Now we'll be learning in later why is it a service. Now when you sell food, restaurant mein, it's a service. Imposed on the service, its incidence is borne by the ultimate consumer. Consumer bears the incidence. Who ultimately consumes the product? It is also called consumption tax. He consumed, he borne the tax. I have just collected and paid to the government. Imposed on me but borne by the ultimate consumer. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. Significant direct tax imposed in our country is income tax. The second indirect tax in our country from July 1st, 2017, GST has come in. So all the old indirect tax, VAT, service tax, etc. is gone. And we have GST, customs which was there earlier, Baba, because custom is a international tax which is basically for international transaction. Customs has not gone many changes and customs still remains. So GST and customs is the tax which is applicable. Sir, for us 75 marks is GST which is going to come, 25 marks is to be customs plus FTP, right everyone? Now Direct tax is progressive in nature. Sir, what do you mean by progressive? Baba, when you used to study in school, no, you had progress report. What do you mean by progress? How are you growing? So, Baba, direct tax is progressive in nature. As and when you grow, the tax also grows. Means partner says, Ramesh, you are earning more, I will also earn more. I am poor, government, I told the government, I am poor, my income is up to 2,50,000 profit. Government is telling, poor people, I don't want. Government is telling, as and when your income increases, sir, if my income is up to 5 lakh, I'll pay little tax. My income is up to 10 lakh, I'll pay more. Up to 20 lakhs, I'll pay more. 50 lakh, more. 1 crore, even more. I hope everyone is clear. As and when the tax income is growing, tax also grows. So direct tax is progressive in nature. Baba, you would have already seen direct tax mein there slab rate. 2,50,000 say you will have to pay this much. 5 lakh to 10 lakh this much. Right, everyone? So Baba, as and when your income is growing, your tax also grows. So it is known as progressive in nature. Indirect tax is regressive in nature. Sir, what do you mean by regressive in nature? Regressive in nature means, supposingly, I went to one hotel and had one masala dosa. On the masala dosa, he charged me 20. Baba, I am a supposingly average middle class person. I went to one hotel and I took one 25 rupees ka dosa, 20 rupees dosa, 5 rupees tax. For an example, I paid him 25 rupees. Now after me, one very poor person came. Baba, very poor person came and he told, I want to have dosa. Do you think the shopkeeper will say, oh, you are poor, your income is less, I will charge you less GST? No, Baba, it is regressive. For me, it was 20 rupees plus 5 rupees tax. For that poor person also, it will be 20 rupees plus 5 rupees tax. One very rich person came, full gold, aram se he walked off with the car. He told one masala dosa. Baba, in that masala dosa also, that shopkeeper will see, oh, wearing gold, I'll charge more tax. No, Baba, it is still the same. So, regressive in nature means it is not dependent on your income levels. It is always same. So, Baba, even if your income is very low, still the tax is same. Baba, even if my income is very high, then also still the tax is same. For an example, mobile phone. Now, in this mobile phone, supposingly, the tax rate is 10,000 ka mobile phone, 2,000 is the tax. For an example, 10,000 ka mobile phone, 2,000 is the tax. Baba, for me also it is 10,000 plus 2,000. For a very poor person also it will be 10,000 plus 2,000. For a very rich person also it will be 10,000 plus 2,000 rupees. So it is regressive in nature. It does not see an income level. Indirect taxes are regressive in nature. GST, Baba, because they equally impact the rich or the poor. I hope everyone is clear. But direct tax are progressive. As and when your income progresses, tax also progresses. Indirect tax, it is regressive. Same for all. For rich also same, poor also same. Next. Sir, what is GST? As the name suggests, GST, Baba, the GST ka definition has been included in the Constitution of India. Constitution of India, the Mother Act. Right, everyone? The Constitution of India, the Mother Act, which gives all the law the power to go ahead. Supposingly, I want to make GST ka law. Baba, I'll have to take the power from the Mother Act, which is the Constitution. Now, Constitution mein there is a definition which has been given for goods and services. Sir, what is the definition given? Baba, I'll just read out for you. More discussion we'll be doing later. It says, clause means supposingly paragraph. For an example, paragraph. Article 366 ka paragraph number 12. Goods and service tax means it means only this much. There are two types of definitions which are there, inclusive, exclusive. By the end of this chapter, I'll be talking about more of that. Now, goods and service tax means only this much. What? Any tax on supply of goods or service or both. Goods or service or goods plus service. I hope everyone is clear. Might be I am going ahead and teaching. Along with my teaching, I am giving you material also goods plus service. So it is both goods plus service. So any tax which is levied on goods or on service or both is known as goods and service tax, except tax on supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Baba, I'll tell you the story behind it. What happened when GST was coming? All the state ka VAT, CST was being gone. Now no more VAT, no more CST. So Baba, states are losing out on the revenue. Central government told service tax, VAT and sales tax, VAT, CST, etc. gone. States ka. Central government ka service tax gone. So what happened? Central government told our revenue service tax we are sacrificing. States told okay VAT CST we are sacrificing. Many taxes were being sacrificed and one GST came into picture. Now GST when it comes, whenever GST is collected on a transaction, 50% goes to state government, 50% goes to central government. Now what happened over here? Now states told, see sir, we can leave all the taxes but not tax on alcoholic liquor. On alcoholic liquor, state has the power to charge state excise duty. Whenever alcoholic liquor is manufactured in a state, state has the power to charge state excise duty. Everyone, ears open and relax. So state has the power to charge state excise duty. Now, so when the GST came in, Baba, the tax was being subsumed. What do you mean by tax subsuming? All the taxes were being subsumed into GST and one GST only will be charged. So state government told sales tax gone, VAT gone. State government का one alcoholic liquor पे state excise duty they were about to subsume. State told no. Recession or depression, happy or sad, money no money, poor rich, whatever it is, people drink. God, they are telling even if it is recession they will drink, depression they will drink, over happy they will drink. Baba, whatever it is, they are very sad they will drink, they are very happy they will drink. Baba, states told alcoholic liquor is something because of coming of GST, because of not coming of GST, whatever it is, people will not stop drinking and it was giving us a huge revenue. So they told we will not leave the tax on alcoholic liquor because of coming of GST, state excise duty which we are charging on the manufacturing of alcohol and the VAT which we are charging on sale of alcohol. So Baba, on alcohol still if you see state excise duty is charged and VAT is charged. So they told, Karnataka told, for us state excise duty and VAT on our alcoholic liquor we will not leave. We will leave everything but not this. So central government told, okay Baba, we understand. But then states told, we know that tomorrow you will go ahead and start charging, then how do you prove that you will not charge? So central government went ahead and told, in our mother act, constitution only we will write GST is a tax on goods and service or both except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Means bottle, Baba, bottle. We are talking about alcohol, bottle. Okay? With bottle, I remember, I'll drink some water. You guys also sip in some water. Not this bottle. We are talking about alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Okay, everyone? Drinks. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. GST cannot be levied. Why, Baba? Because in the constitution only it is written, goods and service tax means any tax on supply. Supply means sale, transfer, barter, whatever you do with goods. It is included in the definition of supply. You will see later. Of goods or service or both, except tax on supply means whenever there is a sale of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, you cannot charge GST. Please remember, happy or sad, Baba, rich or poor, person will drink. So states told we don't want that GST should come on our alcoholic liquor. On alcoholic liquor, we'll charge state excise duty and sales tax when we are selling those goods. So Baba, we don't want GST. Government told if you don't agree to them, they will not let GST come in. So government told okay, we agree. Then they told please write in the constitution, Mother Act only, that we will never charge tax on alcohol, that you will always stay away from alcohol. Right everyone? So government went ahead and wrote it in the constitution only, except alcoholic liquor. They didn't write except alcoholic liquor only. They wrote alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So on alcohol there is GST, but alcoholic liquor which is meant for drinking, Baba, wine shops, etc., drinks, on drinks there is no GST. But supposing there is alcohol for factory consumption, there will be GST. Are we clear everyone? Let's go ahead. Story, I have written it down. Why is GST introduced? Why is GST introduced? I will go ahead and explain. Cascading effect of tax is one of the vital ill effects of existing indirect tax. I will go ahead and talk to you this nose and wet credit. This I'll explain with the help of a small drawing which is on the next page. Everyone on the next page. For an example, there is a manufacturer. Then manufacturer sells his goods to the wholesaler. Wholesaler sells his goods to the retailer. Retailer sells it to the consumer. I'll explain you why GST was introduced. Everyone concentrate here. Till now what did we learn? Everyone with me now. What did we learn? We learned Number one, what is tax? Tax is a compulsory financial charge or compulsory payment which is made under a law or an act. It is to the government. Why to the government? So that government can fund its various public expenditure like infrastructure, education, health, etc. Right, everyone? Second one was difference between direct tax, indirect tax. Direct tax is imposed on same person, Baba, and paid by him only. Incidents cannot be shifted. Indirect tax imposed on one person but paid by the ultimate consumer. Incidence is shifted. Direct tax is income tax. Indirect tax is GST and custom. Direct tax is progressive. Indirect tax is regressive. And Baba, then we went ahead and learned article number 366 clause 12A, which went ahead and told GST means any tax on supply of goods, services or both except alcoholic liquor for human consumption, right? You will have to talk with me whenever I am talking. Everyone, you will have to talk with me. See, we will learn everything logically, conceptually, everything. But tell me one thing, if you learn everything conceptually, logically, but don't retain, then that will become a problem, right? So I am not telling you to mug up anything or do anything. Just talk with me, listen to me, relax and just keep listening. Whenever I am talking, you also talk. Revision purpose only, right, everyone? Chalo. Now, why was GST introduced? Everyone see here. Manufacturer sells goods to wholesaler. Wholesaler sells it to the retailer. Retailer sells it to the consumer. What used to happen before GST? Whenever a manufacturer used to sell goods to the consumer, wholesaler, cost plus profit supposingly is 100 rupees. How much is the cost plus profit? 100 rupees. There was something called excise duty. What do you mean by excise duty, everyone? Sir, excise duty means tax which is charged on manufacturing. So whenever goods were being manufactured, there was something called excise duty which was charged. Now excise duty is how much? 10%. All are for example, only for example purpose. 10% means 10 rupees, 110, and whenever you sell goods intrastate, within the state there was something called VAT which was being charged. VAT, value added tax. Whenever there was any value addition, VAT was being charged. I'll talk about VAT little later, sir. So 110 pay 10%, 11 rupees, 121. These goods used to be sold. Now, if you observe this clearly, everyone, if you observe this properly, VAT is to be charged on what? Value added tax. Tax has to be charged on the goods or services which are provided, right? Whenever you provide any goods or you provide any services, VAT has to be charged. But here what happened? If you see, VAT is charged on goods ka value plus profit. But if you see on the excise duty also, 1 rupee VAT is charged. Can you guys see that? 100 rupees pay, if they would have charged VAT, if they would have charged VAT on 100 rupees, means only 10 rupees should have come. But they have charged 10% on 10 rupees also. So 1 rupee VAT is charged on the excise duty also, means tax on tax. Baba, this tax is charged on another tax. So it is known as tax on tax. I hope everyone is clear. So tax on tax was charged. On one tax, another tax was charged. Baba, don't you think? And tax on tax is not good for economy, because what happens? Because whenever tax on tax is charged, then the goods become expensive. When the goods become expensive, you will not be able, you are selling goods at an expensive price. People from outside India will not want to come to India and set up their business, because India is charging tax on tax. Make in India is expensive because India is charging one tax pay another tax. They are not charging tax on goods and service. They are charging tax on tax, which was not good for our economy. So Baba, first ill effect was tax on tax. If you see, VAT is charged on this also, VAT is charged on this also. This is fine. But VAT being charged on excise duty was not fine. So Baba, this was one ill effect, tax on tax, which was making everything expensive. I hope everyone is clear. Now what used to happen? Wholesaler, when he used to buy the goods, Baba, he has paid excise duty 10 rupees and he has paid VAT 10 rupees. I hope everyone is clear. Now when you see this wholesaler has paid excise duty of 10, VAT of 10. He will tell the government, government, I have paid excise duty 10 rupees and VAT 10 rupees. Give me the credit of excise duty also and VAT. Why credit? Baba, whenever you are a supplier, government is telling Ramesh, you pay the tax and then you take the credit. So supposingly I bought 100 rupees ka goods, on which I have paid 10 rupees excise duty, 10 rupees VAT, to 20 rupees I will take the credit. When I collect supposingly 25 from my customer, 20 rupees I will deduct and I will pay 5 rupees only to the government. Customer has bought 25. Government have got 20 earlier from me and 5 rupees now. So Baba, government will be happy that customer paid 25. I got 20 earlier and 5 now. So customer and government ka beech mein I am the link, but I am the link. I should not suffer. I hope everyone is clear. So what is happening over here? I should have paid 20 rupees ka tax and I should have got the credit of 20. So whenever I get the money from my customer, I can deduct this 20 rupees and pay remaining to the government. So what happens? But wholesalers are not registered under excise. They are not registered under excise. They were not registered under excise. And if they are not registered under excise duty ka they never used to get the credit. They will get the credit of only VAT. Now you tell me one thing, if I am not getting the credit of VAT, excise duty, don't you think unfair? First of all, I will tell the government, I was just a link between you and the customer. I used to collect and pay, but then I have borne 10 rupees ka tax. So what I will do is, whatever I have borne, so for me 110 will become my cost now. For me 110 will be my cost, because 100 rupees I paid for the goods, 10 rupees I also paid for the excise duty which I did not get the credit. For an example, everyone here, I went ahead and bought Paytm say 110 rupees ka one item. Paytm gave me 10 rupees ka credit back. How much is the cost for me? 100 rupees. I bought 110 ka goods from Paytm. Paytm never gave me the credit of 10 rupees. How much is the cost for me? 110. I hope everyone is clear. So here for me the cost will become 110. I went ahead and made a profit. When I make a profit 10%, 121 is my selling price. Again, VAT is 10%. Now, can you tell me this cost includes excise duty? And don't you think on this total again VAT is charged? Baba, it means VAT is also charged on the cost. If you guys are able to understand, this cost is nothing other than cost plus excise duty component is also included. And Baba, again this VAT is being charged on this cost plus profit. Value added tax is charged on the total amount. Baba, don't you think on this excise duty which was 10 rupees which is included in the cost, again tax on tax is happening? Don't you think this VAT is again charged on 121? 121 includes 10 rupees of excise duty. So Baba, again tax on tax, again cascading effect. Don't you think so? Baba, because there is tax on tax, tax on tax, tax on tax, because of this our goods will become expensive. If our goods are becoming expensive, in the international market will not be able to compete, because our goods are expensive goods. People from outside India will not want to come into the country, because they will say when you go to India, India is only tax on tax on tax. Because of that their goods are becoming expensive. They will say no, we don't want to go to India. Make in India initiative will fall. Economy will become, economy may, foreign currency will not flow in. Baba, economy will become dull. I hope everyone is clear. And tax on tax is not good for an economy. So Baba, GST was brought in, wherein free flow of credit, everyone will get credit easily. So whenever this guy will sell to him, he will charge GST. When he charges GST, this guy will get the credit. When he sells, he will charge GST and he will get the credit. Baba, so everyone in the chain will get the credit. So Baba, one nation, one tax, one market. So everyone who is selling will charge GST, everyone will get credit. When credit is given, Baba, there is free flow and cost may, tax is not added. I hope everyone is clear. So whenever I get, supposingly I bought 110 rupees ka goods and 10 rupees I am getting credit, for me cost is how much? 100, no? So always cost will come down, economy will progress, Make in India initiative will progress. I hope everyone is clear. So first of all, cascading effect of tax, that is tax on tax, is one ill effect of the existing indirect tax. Existing means they are talking about VAT, service tax, etc. I hope everyone is clear. Existing tax system means VAT, service tax, etc. Next, no SENVAT credit after manufacturing stage to dealer. Baba, if you have already seen over here, when this guy sold to him, was he getting excise duty ka credit? Was this wholesaler or dealer getting excise duty ka credit? If he was not getting excise duty ka credit, his cost may he was including tax, and on that again VAT was charged and it was becoming tax on tax. I hope everyone is clear. See, this dealer is not getting any credit of excise duty. When he is not getting any credit of excise duty, for him cost is how much? 110. 110 already includes 10 rupees of excise duty, and Baba, on this total again VAT is charged, so again tax on tax is happening. I hope everyone is clear. Baba, whenever this person is not, whenever anybody does not get any tax ka credit, any dealer, trader, wholesaler does not get tax ka credit, he will include it in his cost. And Baba, cost mein when you include tax, it becomes cascading effect will start, because when you sell that product, tax on tax will happen, which is again not good for the economy. Shall we go ahead, everyone? Second one done. The third one says non-integration of VAT and service tax causes double taxation. Baba, if you see, when you used to go to a restaurant earlier than this GST scenario, VAT was being charged, service tax was charged. On the food component, 60% pay service tax, 40% pay, 40% is food, 60% is service. They used to say food is goods, and service is also provided. 60% is service tax, food pay goods, goods pay VAT. So Baba, there was non-integration of VAT and service tax. When you used to go to the service tax department, sometimes there used to be fight. They used to say no, this much 70% is service, but you have considered only 60%. So Baba, there was no integration between VAT and service tax. People had to charge service tax separately, VAT separately, give service tax to central government, VAT to state government. So Baba, there was no integration between VAT and service tax earlier. But now with the coming of GST, what is happening? One nation, one tax. When food is sold, GST is charged. Where service tax, where VAT. I hope everyone is clear. So it was very important to go ahead and introduce GST. Whenever works contract was done earlier, works contract means supposingly one building is being constructed by me, where I am providing material also, where I am providing labor also. Material being goods, VAT was charged, labor being service tax was charged. But now there is total integration. But so earlier VAT, service tax both were charged. On some items VAT was charged, on some service tax was charged. So Baba, two types of taxes were being charged, but now it is only GST. So it was very important to get GST in because of non-integration of VAT and service tax. I hope everyone is clear. Next, what are the various features? See Baba, all these things which I am talking about, no, why GST was introduced? Do you think they will ask you in the exam why GST was introduced? Please tell. Baba, you are a CA final student, almost in the verge of becoming a professional and guiding people towards payment of taxes and also helping the economy of the country grow. They will not sit and ask you this question, why was GST introduced? Please tell. No. These are not questions which they will ask you in the exam, but these are concepts which you should know. And I am not getting too much dive into this, but how much you should know, I am going ahead and explaining it to you guys. Are we clear, everyone? Yes. Sir, this is very basic chapter. Why are you talking so much? Because I want to talk, because you have to listen, because it's very important to listen, right everyone? What are the various features of this, sir? They will ask in the exam, 5 marks, right? Features. They will never ask you all those questions. Knowing is important. Listen everyone. It says over here, GST is a tax. Ha ha ha. Sir, we already know GST is a tax. It's a tax. As per article number 265, it can be levied. Baba, we'll be learning about article 265 later. Article 265 is there in the book. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. It can be levied under the authority of law. Actually, when you read article 265, it says no tax can be levied without the authority of law. So Baba, for income tax act is there. So Baba, an act has to be there to collect any tax. So article 265 is told, whenever you want to collect any tax, it has to be collected under the authority of law. Are we clear everyone? So GST is a tax which is collected under the authority of law. To collect GST, we have GST Act. See, whenever we talk about law and whenever we talk about an act means the GST Act. Law, when we talk about GST law, it will include act, rules, any clarification, any notification, everything. Are we clear? When I talk about an act, it is a GST Act, that legislation. But whenever I talk about law, law means act, rules, notification, circular, everything. Can I go ahead everyone? Next. It's a tax on supply. Sir, supply. I told you supply. When we are reading further, we'll see the definition of supply. Says supply means sale, transfer, barter, exchange, lease, rental, everything is included in the definition of supply. Whenever I am selling goods, whenever I am leasing out, if I am renting out something, everything has been included in the definition of supply. So whenever goods or service are being supplied, means goods and services are sold, transferred, any barter is happening, any exchange is happening, lease is happening, rental is happening, license is happening, everything has been included. It's a tax on supply of goods or service or both. It should be goods or service or both. Are we clear, everyone? Please write it as goods or service or both, okay. Let's go ahead, everyone. Next, GST is a consumption tax. GST is a consumption tax, that is burden is shifted. That is, the burden is shifted. What do you mean by this? GST is a consumption tax, that is burden is shifted. Baba, consumption tax means ultimately the tax has to be borne by the consumer. Burden is shifted onto the consumer. So Baba, tax will be imposed on me, but collected by whom? The ultimate consumer, right, everyone? It is imposed on me, but I'll collect it from the consumer and then pay it to the government. So GST is a consumption tax, that is the burden is shifted. Imposed on me, burden was on me, collected from the consumer and then paid to the government. Next, GST is a destination based tax. Very important to understand, very interesting this is. What do you mean by destination based tax? Everyone understand. There are two principles which are being followed. One is destination principle, one is the destination principle, and the other is the origin principle. So there are two taxation principles which are being followed. So supposingly I tell you this is India, this is USA. Baba, USA goods are coming into India. So there is one consumer who is there. He has bought some goods from US to India. US is telling, because the goods are originating from the US, we will go ahead and tax. So Baba, US has applied origin based taxation principle and tax the goods. So origin based taxation principle says where the goods are originating, that country will have the power to tax. So US will say, I will go ahead and tax. India is telling, because the goods are destined in India, because the goods are consumed in India, people of India are using those goods, we will go ahead and charge the tax on those goods. So India will go ahead and tax. Indian government will go ahead and tax. So whenever goods are coming from US is telling origin based taxation principle they will apply and they will charge tax. Indian government is telling destination based taxation principle and Indian government will go ahead and tax. Baba, don't you think consumer, who is the ultimate bakra over here, bakra means the scapegoat, Baba, in English it's called scapegoat, the ultimate bakra, the consumer, don't you think he will start crying saying government, two time I am to pay tax, one is origin, one is destination, and Baba, hence government have gone ahead and told we will always go ahead and follow destination based taxation principle. What do you mean by destination based taxation principle? That country will get to charge the goods. Baba, please listen carefully, relax and listen. It's very important. That country will get to tax goods or service where the goods or service are ultimately consumed. Baba, it's an international law which is being followed, where only the destination countries get to tax the goods. So Baba, if goods are coming from the US to India, who will have the right to tax those goods? Internationally it is followed, where India will get the right because India is the destination. I hope everyone is clear. But if origin principle is followed, origin means the state of origin will get the right to tax. Now you tell me one thing, supposingly from here, India the goods are lying. Now this guy went ahead and exported the goods to Australia. Now when Australia goods are being exported, which is the destination? So Baba, here what will happen, whatever tax was being collected by the Indian government, that will be refunded. That will be refunded to this person, and Baba, now so Indian government will get no tax. Indian government will not get any tax. Whatever tax was there, government will refund, and ultimate country, the Australian government, will get a right to tax those goods. So supposingly some goods came from US to India, US had a right to tax on origin, India had a right to tax on principles of destination, destination based taxation principle. So Baba, the whole world follows destination principle and India will have the right to collect. Indian government will collect. But supposingly these goods are exported outside India, then Indian government will say, okay, India made goods are not being consumed, the goods have moved outside India, ultimate destination is Australia, Australian government will get the right to tax and Indian government will have to refund the tax to the Indian importer. I hope everyone, exporter. Can I go ahead, everyone? So Baba, if origin principle, so I am telling this is US, please listen carefully, very important, I'll link it to GST now. USA goods are exported to India, US being the origin, can apply origin based taxation principle and tax those goods. India mein when goods came, Indian government is telling, India being the destination, we will apply destination principle and will tax those goods. But Baba, the world customs or the world trade organization which is there has told that Baba, it has to be uniform law across the nations, and hence destination principle is being followed world across, and now Indian government will get the right. Origin based taxation principle is not being followed. But supposingly these goods after being imported, tax was paid, and then later these goods were being exported to Australia. Now again if you see Australia. Now if you see over here, the destination becomes Australia, so Indian government will refund the tax, it will not get any tax, and Australia being the destination will get the right to tax. So what I am telling over here is, if destination principle is followed, India will tax imports and not exports. On the other hand, as per origin principle, we will tax export and not imports. But GST is a destination based tax. It means wherever the destination is, that state gets the tax. For an example, now I'll link it to this GST. I'll link it to GST. Baba, this I was explaining you the destination and origin principle. Now I'll link it to the GST. Supposingly, in Karnataka, software is manufactured. Everyone, please listen. In Karnataka, software is manufactured and it is sold to a state, sold to the state of Delhi. Now, you tell me one thing. In Karnataka, there is only one person who is manufacturing, and in Delhi, the software is sold where there are 100 consumers who are buying the software and using the software. Which government needs more money? Karnataka government or Delhi government? Baba, the more the population of a state, the more tax is required by that government to manage that state. Yes or no? People, yes or no? Quickly tell me. You'll have to talk with me. Yes. So you will say, yes sir, Delhi government, because many number of consumers are there to manage the state, they will need more infrastructure, they will need more police, they will need more hospitals, everything is required. So sir, there the tax requirement will be more. But whereas in Karnataka, where the goods are manufactured, there are only some few manufacturers, there are no consumers. If there are no consumers, why does the Karnataka government need more money? Baba, less consumers, less tax is required. More consumers, more tax is required, because more consumers, more infrastructure need, more hospital needs, everything requirement is more. So Baba, whichever state is consuming, that state the tax will go. Based on that principle, the government went ahead and told, wherever there are many number of consumers, that state will need more tax. Hence, we are making GST as a destination based tax. Are we clear, everyone? Now, for an example, one food item is being manufactured. One food item is being manufactured in Delhi and sold to Karnataka. What food item will we take? We'll take one biscuit. Biscuit is manufactured in Delhi and sold to Karnataka. Delhi government has sold the goods. Delhi mein one producer is there. He has sold the goods to Karnataka. Now Karnataka mein one person has ate the biscuit and he has fallen sick. Now you tell me one thing. If one person has fallen sick, he will use the infrastructure of Karnataka, hospital, ambulance, roads, everything he will use of Karnataka and go to an hospital. Now you tell me one thing. Where is the tax requirement more, Karnataka or Delhi? Do you think if you ate a biscuit packet which was exported from Delhi, means which was sent from Delhi, you will go to Delhi only and admit yourself in a hospital, or you will go to Karnataka hospital, you will use the ambulance of Karnataka? Not you, anyone. He will be using the hospital of Karnataka, roads of Karnataka, ambulance of Karnataka. Yes or no? So when you are consuming in Karnataka, you would definitely want that my tax I am paying my tax, I am giving it to my government, my Karnataka government, so that my Karnataka government develops, and when my Karnataka government develops, my infrastructure, roads, everything will develop, and in turn I will also develop. So Baba, GST also has been made as a destination based tax, because where the consumers are more, there the tax requirement is more, because the government has to manage the place. I hope everyone is clear. But supposingly one state, there are only producers, Baba, that state will get nothing. I hope everyone is clear. So Baba, under GST, a state to develop, it has to have consumers and not producers. So the more the number of consumers are there, the more is the development of a state. I hope everyone is clear. Sir, but from GST point of view, I am taking, in order to earn the GST ka revenue, the more the number of consumers, the more is the development of a state. Let's go ahead, everyone. Next, GST is a VAT. Sir, GST is a VAT. Now you told VAT is gone. Sir, you told VAT is gone. Suddenly you are telling GST is a VAT. People, GST is a VAT means VAT ka model has been adopted into GST. Sir, what do you mean by this VAT ka model? Let's go ahead and quickly understand VAT model which has been adopted into GST. Supposing there is a manufacturer sold the goods to wholesaler has sold the goods to retailer has sold the goods to the consumer. So I will go ahead and quickly tell you, when manufacturer sold the goods to the wholesaler, what happens? Everyone, please understand. This is the most important point. If you understand this, the whole of GST is done. Trust me, this is the base. I am laying down the base, which is the most important part. You will have to learn the base. This is the most important part, everyone. Now, manufacturer sold the goods to the wholesaler. Everyone here. Supposingly, the cost of the manufacturer is 80 rupees. He has added a profit of 20 rupees and he sold the goods at 100. Now, if you tell GST is 10%, Baba, tomorrow I will go ahead. Tomorrow when we are going to the next class, I will go ahead and modify my explanation and I'll increase the level, right? But today we'll limit to simple discussion. He sold the goods at 110 rupees GST and 110. The wholesaler paid the manufacturer 100 rupees for the goods, 10 rupees for the GST. I hope everyone is clear. People clear till here? This manufacturer sold the goods to the wholesaler, 80 rupees cost of the goods, profit is 20 rupees, 100 rupees, GST 10%, 10 rupees, 110 mein he sold. This wholesaler went ahead and paid 100 rupees for the goods, GST ka 10 rupees. Now tell me one thing, manufacturer who is there, he can keep whole 110? No sir, 100 rupees he will keep with himself, 10 rupees which is there, he will have to give to the government. He will have to give it to the government. Government will get tax, which is GST at the first stage. First sale happened, government got 10 rupees. Anyone, any doubt? Anyone, any doubt? Manufacturer sold the goods for 100 rupees. 100 rupees mein he had his profit. So totally the value of the goods was 100 rupees. On the value, government got 10 rupees. First stage is done. Now, the wholesaler who is there, no, if you see this wholesaler will start crying. He will tell, government, I am your partner. Government, I am your partner. Why are you charging me tax? Government will tell, okay, Baba, my mistake. Whatever tax you have paid, you take the credit. What happened? I paid Uber ko 300 rupees. I told Uber, hey, he has collected by mistake. What Uber tells? Sir, you take 50 rupees ka credit. Next time when you have to make the payment, deduct that 50 rupees. Does it do or not? So everyone what they do? So government ko, I paid this guy. Everyone listen. I paid the manufacturer paid the government. I paid the manufacturer 10 rupees. So I am the wholesaler. I paid the manufacturer 10 rupees. Manufacturer paid to the government. I will tell, hey government. No, this side is our government. Government, why did you take 10 rupees from me? Government will tell, Ramesh, no problem. Whatever 10 rupees you have paid, you take the credit. So I will tell, okay government, whatever inputs, means whatever I buy, on that whatever tax I pay, I will get the credit. Whatever I purchase, if I pay any tax, I will get the credit. So whatever I purchased, I paid 10 rupees tax, he paid to the government will give me the credit. Now this 10 rupees I will tell, okay government, I got a credit. Whatever GST I paid, 10 rupees, I will get the credit. Is everyone clear till here? People quickly tell me if you are clear. Sir, how will we tell? You tell by smiling. Everyone smile and learn. We will enjoy the class, right? Now, here wholesaler will go ahead and sell. Now, I am the wholesaler. I will tell government gave me 10 rupees ka credit. So, for me, the cost is, how much is the cost? People quickly tell me, how much is the cost? Cost, quickly tell me. Sir, 10 rupees you already got, 110 you bought, 10 rupees you got the credit. So, for you, cost is 100. I hope everyone is clear. Sir, can you please add some profit? Wholesaler also has his kids. He also has his wife whom he has to gift sometimes, right? Gift good things, right? So he needs money. So he went ahead and added a profit of 20 rupees. Sir, he went ahead and sold at 120. But sir, when I am selling at 120, I have to remember government. He is my partner. Partner has told 10%. So I'll have to charge goods and service tax. Tax is my partner ka profit. Baba, GST is nothing. GST is something which your partner has told you to collect from the consumer and pay him. That's it. Everyone here. So I will collect 10%. 10%, can you guys tell me, is 12 rupees, 132. Now I will tell the government, government, please listen. My sales means your output. Sales means your output. Your output pay tax which you have collected. This is known as output tax. Sales pay, whatever tax you collect is known as output tax, is 12 rupees. Government, you remember? I had paid 10 rupees to this guy. He had paid it to you. Do you remember that? Government will tell, yes, Ramesh, input tax credit, you already have 10 rupees. So I will tell, I will pay only 2 rupees. So in the second stage, I will pay 2 rupees to the government. I hope everyone is clear. So I paid only 2 rupees. Why, sir? I collected 12, 10 rupees I had credit and I paid 2 rupees to the government. Baba, if you understood this, you are done. You are done with GST. That's it. It is so simple, GST. Everyone, 12 rupees, 10 rupees I deducted whatever credit I had because I had already paid to the government. 10 rupees I deducted, 2 rupees is the tax amount which I have to pay. Now, this retailer, can you see the retailer? Baba, retailer is here. Retailer will start crying. Baba, he is crying so much. Let's keep some buckets so that water can be stored. Right, everyone? Retailer started crying. Why is the retailer crying, everyone? Retailer is crying because retailer is telling government, I paid 120 for the goods, that is fine, but 12 rupees tax, why? Government, I am your partner in crime. Now retailer is telling government, I am your partner in crime. Why did you charge me tax? So government will tell, okay retailer, listen, you have paid tax extra, no? Okay, I will give you the credit. 132 you paid, 12 rupees tax you paid, no? You take the credit. So government will give him on his input the tax which he has paid, he will get the credit. How much, sir? 12 rupees. So he got the credit of 12 rupees. He will say, okay government, I will stop crying now. Okay. So he will stop crying. He will say, okay government, I got the credit. Now can you guys tell me quickly, how much would be the cost? For the retailer, how much would be the cost? Quickly tell me how much would be the cost for the retailer now. Quick people. Sir, 12 rupees he got the credit. So out of 130, 12 he got the credit. So sir, for him the cost is 120 rupees. Everyone agrees with me? Can I go ahead? Can I go ahead? Now when the goods are sold to the consumer, 120. Baba, profit. Retailer also has his kids, no? Kids, wife. Sir, no kids, no wife. Okay, Baba, he has his girlfriend. Okay, he has his family, right? So he made a profit of 30 rupees. Baba, money is required, right? So 150 rupees he sold the goods. Now you tell me one thing. The GST rate is same. How much is the... Baba, for this calculator, if government have told 10%, I am selling, wholesaler is selling, retailer is selling, whoever is selling, the rate of GST will be same. Government says, Ramesh, if you are a dealer of calculator, I will be a partner for 10%. Means once these goods are being consumed by the consumer, whatever price he paid, on that I want 10%. You have to understand this simple concept. This calculator, government is telling whatever price is ultimately paid by the consumer, on that I want 10%. I will show you. No, Baba, just imagine this calculator only we are dealing. Whatever price is paid by the consumer, on that government wants how much? 10%. Listen to me now. Okay, 150, 15 rupees tax, 165. Can you tell me how much the consumer will pay now? Consumer, Baba, the ultimate bakra, scapegoat. Consumer doesn't cry, consumer doesn't do anything because consumer can't do anything. So consumer will pay 150 for the goods, 15 rupees for the GST. Now this retailer will start laughing on the government and say, government, on my sales, the output means sales, on that the tax amount which I have paid is 15 rupees. Government, do you remember? I already have a credit, the tax which I have already paid. Inputs pay, tax credit, I have 12 rupees. Government, I will pay you only 3 rupees. And at the third stage, tax he will pay is 3 rupees. Can you tell me 2 here, 3 here? How much is the total amount collected by the government? How much is the total amount collected by the government? Tell me one thing. Has the wholesaler paid anything? No, sir. Wholesaler has not paid anything because whatever he collected, he has deducted his amount. Remaining only he paid. Retailer what he did? Whatever he collected from that, whatever he had paid, he deducted and remaining amount he paid. Sir, consumer actually paid 15 rupees on 150 rupees, correct? And government got 15 rupees. Can you see whatever is the selling price to the consumer, on that 10% is collected by the government. This guy is also happy. This guy is also happy because they have paid nothing. I hope everyone is clear. Quickly pause and quickly copy. Quickly pause and quickly copy. I'll get some water. Right, everyone? People, you quickly pause and copy. I will go ahead and explain the same thing once again. Everyone, let's go ahead and understand quickly once again this thing, because it's the most important part. Everyone, what is VAT? What is value added tax? Now I'll explain. This is how the VAT model works. If you actually see, how much is the value addition done by the manufacturer? How much is the value addition done by the manufacturer? He is sold for cost 80 plus 20. He has actually made a value addition. First time in the economy, 100 rupees ka goods have come. 10%, government got 10 rupees. 100 rupees value addition manufacturer did. Can you tell me wholesaler how much value addition did? Value addition does not mean only adding the goods ko some material or anything. Value addition means profit also. Value addition means profit also. Can you tell me 100 rupees was already value added? 20 rupees is the further value addition done. On this 20 rupees, 10% means how much? So whatever value addition done, how much is the value addition? 100 was already done by the manufacturer. 20 rupees added by the wholesaler. 20 per 10% means how much? 2 rupees. I hope everyone is clear. Sir, retailer, how much is the value addition needed? Sir, 120 was already the value of the wholesaler. On that, retailer did further value addition of 30. Now the 30 is complete profit. Might be on 30 he has gone ahead and used some material, whatever it is. 30 rupees, which is the extra addition, government will get the tax. 30 rupees per 10% is how much? 3 rupees. So if you see, whatever is the value addition you do, government will get the tax. Whatever is the value addition you do, government will get the tax. If you don't do any value addition, government will also not get your tax, because partner means partner in crime. If you make profit, government will make profit. If you don't do any, if you make any money, government will make any money. If you don't make any money, government will not make any money. I hope everyone is clear. The time you add some value addition, government get money. If you make some value addition, government will get money. Are we clear, everyone? Sir, 100, 100, 100, 100, all are selling at 100. Baba, I will sell at 100. He will sell at 100. There is no value addition. When there is no value addition, government will not get any money. I hope everyone is clear. Quickly, let's go ahead and do one more question, everyone. People who are copying can pause and copy, right? I'll explain once again. Baba, if you have not understood first time, if you would have understood it at the first time, there was no requirement to take class, because class is meant to understand. So first time we don't understand, we'll understand the second time. Now let's go ahead and understand this once again, everyone. I'll explain the whole concept once again. Everyone quickly listen here. Supposingly over here what is happening, this manufacturer went ahead and sold the goods to the wholesaler. You will have to do it. Cost is supposingly 1000 rupees. Profit is cost is supposingly 900 rupees. Profit done by him is 100. Wholesaler does a profit of 20% profit, or I'll say amount mein. He does a profit of 300. He does a profit of 500, and GST rate applicable is 20%. Can you guys quickly go ahead and tell me how much will the government earn? People, you will have to pause. You will have to pause and quickly go ahead and do it. I will go ahead and wait for you guys. You have to quickly go ahead and pause it and quickly solve the sum. Your sum is, his cost is 900. He has made a profit of 100. Wholesaler profit is 300. Retailer profit is 500. Can you tell me how much is the amount paid by the consumer and how much is the tax that government is going to earn? You will have to pause the class and quickly go ahead and copy. Quickly go ahead and do the sum. I'll give you 5 minutes. Quickly go ahead and do the sum. I'll wait for you guys. Quickly. People watching, quick. Don't go here and there. Quickly solve. I am watching. So quickly solve. I am watching. Solve it. Solve. Right, everyone. Chalo, we'll go ahead. Now, I will go ahead and solve it. I hope you guys have done it. Sir, first of all, when manufacturer sells it to the wholesaler, 900 plus 100, he sold it for 1000 rupees. Sir, GST rate is 20%. GST rate is 20%, 200 rupees. Sir, 1200. Everyone, 1200. Sir, wholesaler has gone ahead and paid 1000 rupees for the goods, 200 rupees for the GST. This guy has to go ahead and pay tax to the government. So government in the first stage gets a tax of 200. I hope everyone got it. Now the sir wholesaler who is there, he will start crying and he will tell government, I am your partner. Why have you collected tax from me? I will collect and pay. No. So whatever tax I have paid, my government will say, okay Ramesh, if you have paid any tax, this guy has already paid it to me. ठीक है, when you collect from the customer, you deduct that amount and then pay the remaining. So whatever amount I have already paid at the earlier stage, I will get the credit. Whatever tax I have already paid, I'll get the credit. So I will get inputs, whatever I buy, input pay, tax, whatever I have paid, I'll get the credit of 200 rupees. I hope everyone is clear. People, shall we go ahead? Yes, sir. Next. When wholesaler sold it to the retailer, wholesaler के लिए 200 he got the credit, so only cost will be 1000. Okay, sir. Profit, sir. Profit you are told he makes a profit of 300. So, sir, 1300. Profit means value addition. Yes, sir. Whatever, supposingly 1000 rupees may purchase and you sell at 1500. Whatever is the value addition you do. Whatever is the value addition. Sir, as of now, I am telling that since wholesaler is there, he has not gone ahead and done any manufacturing and so he sold at 1300. Sir, GST rate is supposingly 20%. Baba, if little bit confusion is there, don't worry. First 2-3 days, you will be little confused. If you learn it in the first day, then why do we have a class of 40-45 days, right everyone? So, aram se relax. If you have little confusions also, it's my bet over here that I'll clear everything. Don't worry. Just aram se relax, aram se listen, everything will be clear. Sir, 20% means, sir, 1300 per 20%, sir, 1300 into 20% means 260 rupees, sir. So, 1560. Now, wholesaler will sell, government, on your behalf, I have collected output tax, means on my sales tax. Output means sales. On the sales, I have collected a tax of 260. Sir, my input tax credit. How much is my input tax credit, sir? Input tax credit is 200. So, sir, I will go ahead and pay you 260 minus 200. I will go ahead and pay you only 60 rupees. So, government got 60 rupees. And if you want to calculate this directly also, you can calculate. How, sir? Value addition is how much, everyone? 300. 300 per 20% is how much? 60 rupees. So, actually, it is only on the value addition. Are we clear, everyone? Directly calculate on value addition or tax, output tax minus input tax. Whatever is the amount, that is the tax on the value addition. So, GST is nothing other than tax on value addition. Are we clear? Sir, here why value addition is 1000? Because this is the first time goods are coming out in the economy. When they are coming out first time, the total amount is the value addition. Right, everyone? Now this retailer started crying. He will say, sir, why did you go ahead and charge me tax? So government will tell, okay, retailer, whatever input pay tax you paid, you take the credit. So he will say, sir, okay, I paid 260, government will give him the credit. Then he went ahead and sold it to the consumer. He sold supposingly, how much? 1300, cost is 1300. Sir, profit. But retailers make more profit. Yes, sir, 500. So retailer sold at 1800. Sir, GST is how much? GST is 20%. Sir, 1800 per 20% is 360 rupees. Sir, so he sold it to the ultimate bakra, the consumer, Baba, the scapegoat. He sold it to the consumer at 2160. Right, everyone? People, can we go ahead? Now, the consumer paid him 1800 and 360 for the GST. Okay, here also he would have paid him 1300 plus 260 rupees. I hope everyone is clear. Now he will say, retailer will say, ha ha ha, government, output tax which is there is 360, input tax credit which is there, I already have 260, so I will pay you only 100 rupees, and government got here, okay, here how much? 100 rupees. I hope everyone is clear. So government ultimately got 360 rupees, and if you see the Bakra, consumer also paid 360. Are these people happy? Yes sir, these people are also happy. I hope everyone is clear. And if you see 500 is the value addition done, 500 per 20% means how much? Sir, 500 per 20% means 100 rupees. That is what is paid on the value addition. I hope everyone got the answers correct, and you guys might be confident that sir we got it. So I'll tell you what happens. Whatever is my sales in a month, I will take the total of the sales, cut output tax. Whatever is my inward purchases, goods, services, capital goods, whatever tax I have paid, I'll take the credit. Output tax minus input tax, remaining I pay to the government and file a return. Over, chapter, that's it. But on what goods I have to collect, what are the conditions because of which I will get, when do I have to pay, how do I have to raise invoice, all these procedures make GST look big. Otherwise, I am a shopkeeper, I am selling my goods, I'll collect my tax, on my purchases I will pay tax, output minus input, remaining amount I have to pay to the government. That's it, is GST. And after making the payment, I'll have to inform by a return. When I inform the government by a return, government will go ahead and do assessment, audit, and if I'm a thief, government will raise demand, recovery, hang me upside down, recover the money. All this is GST, Baba. That's it. There is nothing other than that. I hope everyone is clear. If you want to copy this, quickly pause and copy. Let's go ahead, everyone. Now, so what is VAT? VAT refers to a stage collection process. Can you guys see in this question, at every stage, first stage, second stage, third stage, stage collection process. At every stage the government is collecting. I hope everyone is clear. Whenever goods are going from one stage to another, at every stage government will collect whenever there is a value addition. So VAT is a stage collection process. It refers to a system where taxes paid at an earlier stage are allowed as a credit to a taxable person. Baba, taxes paid at an earlier stage means whenever you buy something and you pay any tax, it will be allowed as a credit provided you are a taxable person, means a person registered under GST. Do you think if you are a consumer you will get any credit? No. Taxable person means the person who is registered under GST. So if I am registered under GST, whatever tax I pay, I will get the credit. Okay. That credit I can use to set off against output tax liability. So Baba, VAT means whatever tax I have paid, I'll get the credit which I can use against my output tax and pay the remaining to the government. So VAT is a model which has been adopted in GST as well. I hope everyone is clear. Can we go ahead, everyone? Yes sir, let's go ahead. So Baba, what are the 5 things I told you? GST is a tax. Okay sir, GST is a tax on supply of goods, services, or both. Yes sir. GST is a consumption tax, means the tax is ultimately borne by the consumer and not the producers or the suppliers. Sir, why not borne by the traders or suppliers? Because whatever tax we pay, we recover it from you and then deduct our tax, and remaining we pay to the government. I hope everyone is clear, because burden is not on us, burden is on you, because it's an indirect tax. Sir, GST is a destination based tax. Yes, the tax ultimately goes to the destination state, means where the goods are consumed. If Baba, Karnataka is only a destination, Karnataka is a state which is only producer, then Karnataka government gets nothing. Delhi is a producer state, then Delhi is a consumption state where many consumers are there, then the tax will be more. So always remember, under GST, the development of your state will only depend on the fact how many consumers are there, not on the number of producers. Yes sir, because more the producer, more the tax requirement. GST is a VAT. VAT means VAT is a stage collection process. At every stage the government is collecting, right everyone? Sir, can you please tell me, supposingly in my example over here, everyone please listen. In my example, what happened? Retailer bought the goods, supposingly it was a video game, and retailer ka son came to his shop, and Baba, he took the video game. Papa, I want the video game, and he went home. Retailer became consumer. Retailer becomes the consumer. He will not get any credit. The chain stops. At the chain stops, government have already got 200 rupees from here, 200, and Baba here 60. Baba, retailer is the consumer now. Retailer paid 260. Government also got 260. The time the chain stops, government cut tax also stops. I hope everyone is clear. So government told, I will not collect only at the first stage. Just imagine if GST was only at the first stage collection. GST was only at the first stage collection, means government told, I will collect only at the first stage and not collect. Then government would have got only 200. The 160 would have been a loss. I hope everyone is clear. If government would have told, I'll collect only in the last stage, then Baba, if government would have collected only in the last stage, when the last stage will come, one goods will go from one person, next person, third person, fourth person, fifth person. You never know how many stages it is going to cross. So when you don't know the number of stages it is going to cross, so government went ahead and told, Baba, please paying me in installment. So at least some collection is there. Otherwise, supposingly I am a producer, I produced in January, goods ultimately consumed in December. Baba, government is selling from here to here, 10 times the goods have passed. You never know, it came to wholesaler, trader ate off. Government is waiting. When will the trader sell to consumer? When will the trader sell to consumer? So government told, I don't want this headache. Whenever goods are sold from one person to another, at every stage, I want my tax. So it was neither made as one stage, first stage collection. It was neither made last stage collection. It was made stage by stage. Whenever there was a value addition, tax is being collected. I hope everyone is clear. Sir, supposingly there is no value addition. No value addition means no profit. If no value addition is done, government will also not get any tax. If I am selling one goods, 100 rupees I bought. Okay, for an example, I will tell you here. In the same example, supposingly in the same example, this guy, input tax rate is 260. He has purchased for 1300, cost is 1300. He saw that the market is down, he didn't do any value addition, 1300. GST he has to charge is how much? 20%. 20% on 1300 means 260, and he sold at 1560. Can you tell me the output tax? Output tax is 260. Input tax credit, how much is the input tax credit? 260. And Baba, government got nil. So Baba, if you see at the third stage now, if there is no value addition done, government will also get nothing. So ultimately government got 260 because the consumers also paid 260. I hope everyone is clear. Whatever tax I had paid, output tax is 260, input tax also 260. I will pay government. Thenga, nothing. Get lost. Can we go ahead, everyone? Everything told in the class, every fun made in the class is only for classroom purpose, no relevance to real life. Can we go ahead, everyone? But logics are all real life logics. Can we go ahead, everyone? So government got only 260 because consumer paid only 260 because 1300. There was no further value addition done by the retailer. I hope everyone is clear. Let's go ahead, everyone. Next. Pre and post GST scenario. Sir, what used to happen before GST came and what is happening now with GST coming? I will quickly tell you. Earlier, whenever goods were being manufactured by a manufacturer, if I was a manufacturer, I used to manufacture the goods, I had to pay central excise duty to the central government. So earlier, whenever I used to manufacture the goods, I was a manufacturer, I used to pay central excise due to the central government. Sir, earlier whenever goods were sold intrastate sales. Sales means intrastate sales. Sales means selling within the same state. So whenever I sold within the same state, if I am manufacturer trader, what used to pay? VAT I used to pay to whom? State government. I hope everyone is clear. VAT used to be paid to the state government. Earlier, whenever goods were being sold interstate, one state to another, interstate means one state to another, by a trader or a dealer, what used to be charged? CST, Central Sales Tax used to be charged, and it used to go to state government, origin state government. VAT was the only tax which was origin based. Earlier tax system mein VAT was origin based taxation. I hope everyone is clear. And then whenever services were being provided, but they never used to say provided, they used to say provisioning of service. They used to say, Ramesh sir, you are not providing, I am doing provisioning of service. So whenever I used to provide service, it used to be called provisioning of service by a service provider. Service tax was charged, and service tax used to go to central government. So everyone here, earlier what used to happen before GST came in, whenever a manufacturer used to manufacture goods, manufacturing was done by a manufacturer, excise duty was charged and it used to go to central government. Earlier, whenever goods were sold intrastate by a trader or dealer, what was charged? VAT was charged. VAT used to go to state government. Earlier, whenever service tax, CST was charged whenever goods were being sold interstate. Earlier services, whenever provisioning of services were done by a service provider, service tax was charged. Service tax used to go to central government. Now, with the coming of GST, this was the pre-GST scenario, everyone. Pre-GST. What used to happen before GST? This was the pre-GST scenario. Now, with the coming of GST, what is happening? Post-GST scenario. What is post-GST scenario over here? Now, post-GST scenario says, sir, whenever all these taxes, now all these taxes are no more. These have become what? GST. Goods and service are goods and service only. Manufactured means whenever manufacturing was done, whenever sales was done, whenever provisioning of service was done, all this were the taxable event. Taxable event means the crime which you used to do. Sir, my crime was manufacturing. My crime was sales. Sir, because I did manufacturing, excise duty was charged. Sir, because I did sales, VAT and CST was charged. Sir, because I provide services, service tax was done. So what was the crime earlier? The crime was known as manufacturing, sales, provisioning of service. Now the crime has been, we don't call goods manufactured, goods sold interstate, goods sold intrastate. No. We say supply. We say whenever goods are being sold, we don't say sales, we don't say manufacturing, we don't say provisioning of service. We say only goods and services are supplied. So now the taxable event, the crime is known as what? Supply. So all this has been included in supply. We don't call anymore manufacturer, trader, dealer, service provider. No. We say whenever goods and service are supplied by a taxable person. Taxable person. So the new word which is used is taxable person. I hope everyone is clear. So if I am a service provider, crossed a turnover of 20 lakh, I am a taxable person, sir. Manufacturer, taxable person. Everyone is called a taxable person now. All these taxes have been deleted and now new tax which is charged is goods and services tax, and which goes to the central government and state government 50-50. I hope everyone is clear. So now the new regime says, whenever goods and service are supplied by a taxable person. Everyone, how will we say whenever goods and service are supplied by a taxable person, GST will be charged. I hope you guys remember this was the thing I was talking to you guys here. Whenever goods and service are supplied by a taxable person, GST will be charged and GST goes to central government and state government 50-50. This I have gone ahead and shown over here, where I am telling whenever goods and service are supplied by a taxable person, GST will be charged and it will go to central government and state government 50-50. I hope everyone is clear, and it will go to the central government and state government 50-50. We'll stop our discussion till here. Baba, because it was the first day and we were trying to lay the foundation, I have told you very simple things today. I have not gone ahead and complicated things, but tomorrow onwards we'll start complicating slowly. So today I have just laid the foundation. Tomorrow onwards I'll start complicating. Can you guys quickly tell me what are the things we revised? Everyone quickly with me, we'll revise. What did we learn today? We started learning with tax. Tax is a compulsory financial charge which is imposed on a taxpayer under an act or law. Sir, it is provided in order to provide what? It is collected in order to provide various public facilities, in order to meet public expenditure of infrastructure, health, education, military, defense, etc. Direct tax, indirect tax. Direct tax is imposed on me and collected from me only. Direct tax, indirect tax is imposed on me, but ultimate burden is borne by the consumer. Direct tax is income tax, indirect tax is GST and custom, direct tax is progressive, indirect tax is regressive, right everyone? Sir, then the third thing we learned, GST is that any tax on goods or service or both except alcoholic liquor for human consumption, bottle, right everyone? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Next, sir, you will always use the word alcoholic liquor for human consumption only, not only alcohol. Alcohol can be factory use, that is taxable. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption is out. Sir, why was GST introduced? Because of the cascading effect, no SANVAT credit to dealers. Sir, non-integration of VAT and service tax. All this resulted in introduction of GST because the cost of the goods were going up. Things were becoming expensive and it was a harmful thing happening to the economy because people never wanted to come to India and Indian products were becoming expensive. Various features: GST is a tax on supply of goods, services, or both. Sir, GST is a destination based tax, GST is a consumption based tax, GST is a value added tax, means tax on value addition, means whatever tax I have paid on the earlier stage is always allowed as a credit which I can set off against output tax liability. Pre and post GST scenario: sir, wherever goods were being manufactured by manufacturer, excise duty was charged by central government. Sir, goods were being sold interstate. Sir, sales pay VAT was being charged by whom? By trader or dealer. VAT was charged by the state government. Sir, whenever goods were sold interstate, CST was charged and this was to going to the state government, origin state government. Then, sir, whenever services were being provided, provisioning of service by a service provider, service tax was charged and this used to go to central government. But with the coming of GST, all these goods and all these taxes are gone. It is now only GST. So, whenever goods and service, taxable event is what? Supply, and all these people are known as taxable person now. And Baba, GST will be charged, which will go to both the government 50-50. So, whenever goods and services are supplied by a taxable person, GST will be charged, which will go to both the government 50-50. I hope you guys had a great day today. Please keep revising, revise whatever we have learned today, and tomorrow onwards, I'll give you the next level. Right, everyone? Have a great day. Take care. Bye, guys.